Hi, my name is Chuck, and I am going to be demonstrating the Trucker Tools visibility platform for you today. To start off, I'll call attention to two important points. One, the Trucker Tools visibility platform integrates with most popular TMSs. So the majority of our customers are going to use it right there within the TMS rather than coming to the web portal here. Two, perhaps the most valuable facet of Trucker Tools visibility platform is our compliance rates. Unlike other tracking vendors, our mobile app is widely popular among truck drivers with over 1.5 million downloads because it gives them a host of tools that they can use in their day-to-day life. They can find fuel prices, get truck-specific navigation, or even find and book their next load. This means that they have an incentive to have the app on their phone and keep it downloaded regardless of any load track that you might be assigning them, which reduces the friction and driver pushback that brokers commonly experience when trying to get a driver to accept load tracking. Compliance rates with similar apps are often 30% or worse throughout the industry, but with Trucker Tools, you should expect an average of 72%, which is our average compliance across our user base, and customers who are using best practices experience a 90% or better tracking success rate. We also provide 24/7 live phone-based tech support for both drivers and brokers, which is another big contributor to the success rate that you can expect with us. That being said, let's dive in and take a look at the portal. Now, our home-based screen on our LoadTrack portal is what we call our live map. We're looking at a map of the United States, Canada, and Mexico with your current LoadTrack position superimposed. And the icons you see here on the screen are actually status indicators as to what the truck status is. And there's three statuses that you can have within Trucker Tools. So these folks that you see here in green, that means that tracking is going on successfully. No need for the broker to take any action. If the track is ever interrupted for any reason, however, we will first send out an alert to the broker, and we will also turn the icon here red for visibility. Now, we'll also do our best in these situations to let the broker know why exactly the track has been interrupted. So, for instance, if you got a driver going through the mountains, he runs out of cell phone signal, that's not really that big a deal from the broker's perspective because that driver is going to get back into cell phone service eventually, and the tracking will pick back up just as it should. But if the driver does something intentional, like deletes the app, disables location services, something along those lines, that's a bit more of a red flag. So we're going to let them know that, hey, something intentional has happened here so that the broker can reach out to the driver and start working the problem. The third status we have is pretty slick. It's something that most other tracking providers do not do, and that is our running late status. So we're plugged into Google Maps API at all times for live traffic and weather data. And of course, we know the ETA and the location that the driver is trying to hit. So throughout the track, we're constantly calculating that ETA to make sure that they're going to be on time. In the moment that that track comes back bad, we are going to change the status here to running late and turn the icon orange for visibility. So that way you can let the receiver know that the truck is going to be late before it actually is late to that location. Next, I'm going to open up an individual load track here to give you an idea of the data that we collect. So the load track we're looking at right here is a load from Atlanta, Georgia up to the Boston area. A couple things I always like to point out is that one, we have an individual ping right here in Atlanta when we assign this load track to the driver at 2:22 p.m. Eastern time. We set this track to start tracking at midnight on the night before the night before the load was due to be picked up. So that's when you'll see the pings start occurring here at 12:01. And as I click through these, you will notice that we are getting true 5-minute pings on this service, which is pretty high speed as the industry goes. You'll also notice some examples of our geofences here around each stop. Now, Trucker Tools geofencing is truly customizable. You can do pretty much whatever you'd like to do with it, but we see two most common use cases. The first one is what you're looking at right here with these large blue geofences, and how these work is we apply it to every one of your pickup and drop off locations. And what it does is it triggers an alert that, hey, the driver's almost there. They're 10 minutes out, they're 15 minutes out, something like that. The second use case that we see commonly is one that looks a little bit like this. And what's going on here is you can actually come in and draw a true custom geofence around a specific building or maybe a lumberyard, something like that. And this will do two things for the broker. One, it'll of course trigger arrival and departure alerts, and the broker can get those or set it up to where the customer gets those as well. And two, it'll track detention time. So the moment that the driver enters in the smaller of the two geofences, we will start running the clock. And when he leaves, we will stop the clock. So that way, if you have a driver, hassling a broker about a detention claim, there will be some hard data to back that up. Now, on the left-hand side of the screen here, we have a couple different cards with a lot of information. So I'm going to run through these and explain to you what's going on. The first card we have is all events, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's every event associated with this load track given to you in plain English with timestamps here on the right-hand column, so you know exactly what happened with the play-by-play of each load. Next, we have a list of all the stops associated with this load. So in this case, we're looking at a 1 pick 2 drop. So there's an A, B, and a C stop. And you'll also notice, if you look closely, that there is an image capture at each one of these stops. So what's going on here is that within the Trucker Tools mobile app, the driver has the ability to take a picture within the app and then associate that picture with either a stop or a document type. So some common things that brokers will ask drivers to do is, hey, take a picture of the freight. I want to make sure it's tarped correctly. Or maybe take a picture of the truck with the MC number on it so that I know that you're actually hauling this load and you're not double brokering it out. Any of those pictures can be associated with a stop, and it'll live right here within the load track record. Similarly, if they'd like to upload a picture and associate it with a document type, it'll live under the documents sent by driver section right here. And common use cases for this are, taking pictures of a proof of delivery or maybe lumper receipts or any documents that's relevant to the load. And so that makes it easier to access for the brokers. So they're not fishing it out of an email inbox somewhere. It'll just live right here within the cloud-based web portal or within your TMS if you're using a compatible TMS. In the same vein, we also have a comment section down here. And what this allows the broker to do is to send messages to the driver, which will be received as a push alert on the mobile app. And then the driver can respond accordingly right through the app, and the broker will receive it in the portal or within the TMS system. So the real value of the comments tool and the document scanning tool, when taken in conjunction with one another, is that you're getting one source of truth for everything about this load. If you can envision a claim scenario where you've got to look back a couple weeks ago at an old load and try and figure out exactly what happened, well, having all of the events, all of the relevant documents, and then all of the broker-driver communication in one place is going to make your job much, much easier when doing the Sherlock Holmes thing and trying to investigate what happened with the load. So that's the real value we're giving you there, is one source of truth for everything, as well as the ease and convenience of those documents being shared natively within your TMS or within the LoadTrack platform. Next, I am going to show you an example of our Create LoadTrack screen. Now, the vast majority of our customers never would come to this screen because you're going to build the load within your TMS, and we're going to just transfer all that information to the LoadTrack portal. It's not like you have to duplicate those efforts. But I like to show this screen to customers because it gives you an idea of some of the third-party access that you can set up for the system. In other words, different ways that you can plug your customers in to get alerts so that you're not reaching out with a phone call to give them that update manually. So the first way you can do that is at each stop, whether it's an origin stop, a destination stop, or an interim stop, you can enter in an email address here, and that will trigger alerts when that driver arrives or departs that particular location based on the geofence we have built around it. At the bottom of the screen here, you can take things one step further and actually invite your shipper or your customer directly in to view the load track itself. And what that's going to do, it's going to send them an email invitation to view basically a simplified version of the load track screen that we just looked at. So the customers are going to be able to see the current location of the truck, all the events, and the historical GPS updates, but they'll never be able to see any sensitive information like the driver's MC number, driver's phone number, or anything like that that might open up the broker to a backdoor solicitation scenario. So it does not expose the broker to any risk, but it does give the broker's customer a professional, user-friendly experience where they can get firsthand visibility into that load without the broker having to manually provide it for them. Now, if that's not enough, we can also layer on top of this recurring location update emails by checking this box right here and selecting your time interval here. So you can select anywhere from 1 to 12 hours. And once you create this load track, they will trigger an email update every hour to that customer, giving the current location of the vehicle, as well as another invitation to come in and view the load track directly. So between those three capabilities, you should be able to provide all the visibility any customer would possibly want into the load track platform, again, without the broker having to make a manual touch to the customer and let them know where the load currently is. Last thing I'll show you on this screen, you can also save any load you build here as a template. So if you're one of the rare customers who is using our web portal here without a TMS integration and you're having to manually build these loads, you can save all the load information using this button right here so that it's easier to recreate that same load in the future. So that's everything I have to show you with our load tracking platform. I thank you for your time today, and I'm going to pass it off to Kevin to show you our digital freight matching tools.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. Again, my name is Kevin Larson. I'll be showing you guys the Trucker Tools digital freight matching platform here. Obviously, at its absolute core, we're looking to match broker available freight with carriers available capacity. Just wanted to share a couple conceptual bullet points before we actually jump into the demo. So number one, this is fueled by 175,000 plus unique MC numbers or carriers that use trucker tools to find and book freight. A few of the high level goals here. Number one is just to give brokers greater visibility and just more data on their current carrier network. So this allows them to book more freight with the carriers they're already working with, and ultimately just strengthen those relationships. Number two, we're also looking to introduce our broker customers to new carriers, and not just any carrier, but those that kind of have a higher probability of matching up with their available freight and their network overall. And then lastly, just increasing overall operational efficiency with the help of our machine learning, with us giving our broker customers the ability to interact with their carriers digitally and automate some of the certain tasks and functions that historically have been manual. So a couple other things just to note before we jump in. This applies to really the traditional full truckload market. So dry van, reefer, flatbed. We do have some specialty equipment in here as well. And then geographically, we're covering US, Canada, and Mexico. So I'll be showing you guys our web portal. Another thing to note is that most of our broker customers are using a lot of this functionality within their TMS. So we have several TMS provider partnerships, McLeod, MercuryGate, TMW, Ascend, TIE, et cetera, several others. But there's also functionality they can take advantage of within our web portal itself. So I'll jump in here. I'm showing you guys right now just our home screen, which is really a visualization of a broker's available freight and where they have trucks that might be able to cover that freight for them. So just to kind of walk through what we're looking at here, I'm zoned in on the Chicago market, obviously a popular freight market. And these red icons here are available freight coming out of a broker's TMS. This is something the carrier community appreciates, with the integration. Every load that they see as available is based on that integration. So there's no manual posting of any kind, but every load that they see is real and available in real time. So that's what these red icons are indicating. Green are carriers or specific trucks for a carrier that are available for these loads. Green is indicating that they're an in-network carrier. So if you're a broker, we're tied in with your TMS and we know who your active carriers are, who you've onboarded, who you do business with. That's what this green color code is signifying. And then gray being out of network trucks. So this is where we're introducing new carriers to our broker customers that can potentially match up with their available freight. So I'll jump into an actual load, and this will start to kind of paint the picture of the workflow a broker will go through when trying to use trucker tools to cover a load. So I clicked into Illinois to California. It's a reefer load, and you can see Trucker Tools has 74 matches for this load, meaning 74 individual trucks and carriers that can potentially haul this load. And then down here really is the core functionality of this page. It's a carrier list of those available trucks that you can start to work off of to cover this load. So really the most important part of this list is the algorithm that's happening behind the scenes to essentially rank these carriers as to who is the best match to haul this load. And what's important about this algorithm is the combination of real-time data points and historical data that we have access to that we can marry together to really give you a high probability of who would be available and interested in this load. So the real-time data points are coming from all of the activity that happens within the Trucker Tools ecosystem. So thinking about the tools within our driver app, So as carriers are using our mobile app, using the tools to plan out their route and find the best fuel prices, as well as, maybe they're being tracked through the tracking platform, and also using our web portal or the mobile app, or clicking through our emails to search for their next load. Essentially, all of this is telling us where is a truck headed, when are they going to be there, and are they also looking for a load when they get there? Are they available at their destination? So coupling all that real-time data with historical data in terms of activity history, lane history, whether it's with the customer specifically or just overall within the entire Trucker Tools ecosystem, we have a really robust carrier portrait of preferred destinations and where carriers prefer to operate. So that's what's ranking this list here from top to bottom. So who is close by, who is confirmed availability, and who typically runs a lane like this is going to be, theoretically your best match to cover this load. So from there, the broker can, interact however they want. They can call, they can email, or getting into the digital transactions, they can, click several carriers, send an individual load offer, and start the negotiation that way. So again, that's really the core functionality of this page, starting off with, I need to cover this load, but going into, the aspect of the platform where we're really looking to increase use and reuse with carriers and strengthen that relationship. There's a couple other features in here that help with that. So I'll click on one particular carrier just as an example. We're looking at Noble Transport. So number one, we're giving a quick snapshot just into their historical activity with this bubble chart here. So you can see, typically they're operating around the Chicago, Milwaukee market and tend to head out west every now and then. Where you can leverage this is in the reloads function here. So what this will show you is loads coming out of your TMS as a broker that pick up in this delivery market. So once Noble Transport, if you're booking them or trying to book them on this Illinois to California, do you have a consistent load you can offer them to, keep their truck moving and keep them in your network? Again, going back to strengthening that relationship. So you can see there's two loads here you could offer Noble Transport for when they deliver. That would, either take them to Texas or New Jersey, and they can start to plan out their week around your network. Another function kind of in the same vein is the See Carrier Matches. So what this will do is show you other available trucks within the Noble fleet. So moving beyond, that transactional conversation of trying to cover the load you have in Chicago, maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't, but continuing the interaction with the dispatcher, whoever's looking to book freight. What we're looking at here is, again, your available loads coming out of the TMS. But the important thing here is we're giving visibility into Noble's other trucks that are available, and you can start to make some matches from there. So, for example, you see they have a truck in Georgia here. You have some trucks in the Atlanta area that you could start to offer out, as well as the Northeast here. So again, just building relationships, keeping carriers in your network, and from an efficiency standpoint, just getting more done on single interactions and allowing you to do more with less and have all of this data at your fingertips, where historically carrier sales reps were having to ask dispatchers this, and maybe the data was a little less reliable. Couple side notes here. As I mentioned, most of this list here is coming from all of the activity we're capturing on the Trucker Tools app and web portal, the whole ecosystem. But brokers do have the ability to manually add in capacity, and also we're able to fold in carrier emails through our email parsing. So we'll scrape the information off the available truck lists that our brokers get, and we'll fold it into here. So what historically has maybe been junk mail or maybe in the inbox of one employee can then be seen by everyone and hopefully leveraged to cover more freight. So I'll jump out of here. We'll move on to the next tab. This is moving away from the algorithm that is load specific and trying to cover a particular load that's built in the TMS. This carrier search function is just giving our brokers the ability to check capacity in any given market. So I chose Atlanta within a 100-mile radius and dry van, and a list here will populate of real-time carriers, again, through all of the data points that we're capturing from activity on our platform of number one, who will actually be in Atlanta and available over this time period. So from a use case perspective, if you're a broker and maybe you have a potential load, it's not built in the TMS yet, but you'd like to have a truck before you quote it, or you just want to know if there's sufficient capacity in the area, that's what this list would help you with. And then again, you can contact in all of the previous forms of phone, email, or through the platform itself. Second tab here is historical availability. So this is not saying that a carrier has a truck in the area today per se, but this is who has had a truck in the Atlanta market available the most over the last 90 days. So that's what posting is meaning here. So top carrier here has had an available truck posted in Atlanta 544 times over the last 90 days. And you can also see their preferred destinations here. So again, use case being maybe you have a new customer or a customer with a new lane that will be repeat business, and you're looking for a new partner. This would be a great place to go to say, okay, well, I want to know who has availability in Atlanta consistently and likes to go to Texas or to Florida, whatever the lane might be. And then last tab we'll cover here is carrier activity. So this is where our broker customers can manage all of these digital interactions, whether it's them reaching out to carriers reaching out to them, because there is the kind of the reverse of all of this, where carriers have their own web portal. They're getting lists of what is the best match load for me as a carrier from all the brokers on Trucker Tools. And they have the same functionality. They can call brokers, they can email brokers, or they can initiate digital interactions. And this is where the broker can manage that. So kind of going in order, starting with Book It Now, in order kind of warmest or hottest lead to cover a particular load. So we're looking at this Maryland to Mississippi. Book It Now is the ideal case here. So Book It Now just meaning a carrier has the ability, on their web portal to click a button and actually book that load. Depending on the TMS integration, that can be, as easy as they click that load and they're fired a rate con immediately, or maybe the broker has some task on their end just to confirm it, however they choose to set it up. But obviously Book It Now being the best case, because that load is then physically booked. Second here is offers. So if a carrier has submitted an offer, or you have sent an offer out to a carrier and you're waiting for a response, you can manage all of that history here, the inbound and outbound offers, and you can also take action. So you can see action items here. You can accept an offer from a carrier, you can counter it, or you can reject it. Next, we have this tab. It's labeled phone or email. What this means is a carrier has viewed an available load of one of our brokers, and they've taken a further step in trying to contact them. So they've either clicked on the email or the phone link within our portal. So this is kind of, like I said, a warm lead for a broker trying to cover a load. Maybe, the carrier wasn't able to get a hold of the broker and they just moved on. But from a broker perspective, that's valuable data. They want to know who's looking at their load and trying to contact them. So this is kind of the step down from offers, but still a decent likelihood of a carrier that's interested in this particular load. And then views being the final one here, essentially just telling you who has viewed my available load. So Kind of one step down. They didn't actually try to contact you, but they viewed it, they had some form of interest in it. So when you're looking to prioritize who to reach out to, this is a good spot to say, okay, well, this is not a totally cold lead of a carrier, but I know they've viewed this load and it might match up with what they're looking for. So let me reach out to them. So that pretty much covers everything on the digital freight matching side of things. I'll now kick it over to Ricky, who's going to show you guys the Trucker Tools Broker Advantage portal, which is kind of the next step and built on top of our digital freight matching platform. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kevin. My name is Ricky, and I'm here to show you our Broker Advantage platform at Trucker Tools. Broker Advantage is a load board tied directly to the loads from your TMS. It can sit as part of your website or be on another domain altogether. You own the keys to this portal, so you can openly share loads with the entire world, or you can restrict carrier access to only your prioritized carriers. Now, this is a place to give back to your core carriers and a place to build new relationships with future partners. It's a place to create a seamless and automated connection between your brokerage and your carriers. And with this tool, you can bring capacity availabilities to your carriers 24/7 without tying up any of your team. So you can actually book loads on nights, on weekends, early in the morning, when people aren't in the office, etc., because you have this piece constantly working for you. Now, we are on the home page here. So what you're seeing is a branded portal that will work on your mobile phone and your computer, so you can cater to dispatchers and drivers that are on the road. It can give anybody the ability to interact with your brokerage in real time. Now, what you'll see is it will be color coded to your website, to your logo. You will also see up here, we have your logo on here. The only thing from Trucker Tools that you're going to see on this website is a little powered by button in the bottom corner. Other than that, it's going to be fully customized to exactly what you're looking for your brokerage. So we are on the carrier view. So right now, what you're seeing is what a carrier will see when they log in. Now, for the sake of the argument here, I put in an origin in Tampa, Florida for a pickup date of 1/21/22. I didn't put a pickup end date, didn't select an equipment type, although you can van, reefer, flatbed, auto carrier, power, or other. We can also customize these lists and everything like that when we build out your integration. I did not select a destination because I don't really mind where it's going for right now. So what you can see is all the loads that are coming out of Tampa, Florida, and where they're going. So you can see Tampa to Riviera Beach. This one's to Florida as well. Lakeland out to Ohio, so a bit of a longer journey. Now, inside these loads, you can click in and you can see where the load picks up, where it drops off, if there were any stops, how we reach out to somebody if we were to connect with somebody to book this load. You can see the equipment type, van, how many pounds, and a rate. So because this load actually has a book it now rate tied to it, and I know Kevin mentioned the book it now platform on the DFM a few minutes ago, what that means is this carrier can actually be inside the portal and they can immediately book this load by clicking this button. Now, what that will do, they'll put in their MC number, all of their information, and they will put in the driver number, the driver information as well. You can make this a required field if you would like to, if you want to incorporate all of the tracking and everything like that too. So you would get the driver name, the cell phone number, and then he or she would be able to do that GPS track. All they would do, click that book it now button, and depending upon your setup, we could have that fill in directly to your TMS as a covered load. If you wanted to vet these book it nows first, they could click book it now, and then they could wait for the confirmation from you so you could vet everything. We're able to set it up either way. So I'm going to get out of this screen. Let's say this price here, this rate $871.50 wasn't enough for the particular carrier to do it. So let's say they wanted $1,000. Instead of clicking book it now, they could click quote, and they could put in here 1,000. Here we go. Forgive me for that. So they could enter 1,000 to the quote button. They could write a message, I am interested, ... and they can submit that, and that will go directly to your team, whoever's managing that load, so they can review it and see if you want to accept or counter or something like that. Now, you can see this cool reloads button here. So what that's going to do is that's going to allow the carrier to see what's next. So I pick up here in Tampa, Florida, going to Riviera Beach. When I get there on January 22nd, what's next? So if you click this reload button, it looks like there are a couple pickups on January 24th. So that would be Monday, another one on Monday. There's one on Tuesday. So they'd be able to look and they could book these loads out to Maryland. Now, let's say they book this one from Miami to Maryland on Monday. They click that reloads button. Now, when they're out in Maryland on Monday, you can see there's other pickups for next week where they could spend the night there and then they could go make another pickup the next day. Other times there will be availability. It all depends on your TMS on if there will be reloads on the same day for that truck driver. Now, you can play this game over and over and over again. You can keep going and keep going, and the carrier will actually have the ability to piece out all of these loads to plan a week, 2 weeks, or maybe even up to a month in advance on where they're going to be with all of your loads. So you can see how easy and user-friendly this is. Now, as the carriers, we're going to go back to Tampa here, back to the first page. As the carriers are looking, they can sort by book it now only. So if you click that button, it eliminates one load. It looks like the rest of the 27 do have a book it now price. They could sort by what type of equipment. So let's say they didn't want van or reefer, they needed a flatbed. They have a flatbed, and there's still 5 loads that need to be picked up by a flatbed on Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday, Tuesday. So there's 5 loads in the next couple of days inside your TMS that this carrier could book with their flatbed equipment. They could also pick destinations. If they were looking ahead to the Northeast or the Southwest from Florida, they could pick destination states, and that would eliminate some types of loads on here. Distance from search, weight, etc. So you can see how customizable this is and user-friendly for the carriers. Now, the next page I'm going to get into is preferences. So carriers love this because they can come in, they can look at all of your loads, but carriers also like to share their preferences and what they have going on with you. So if they have extra capacity or they have lane preferences, this is the screen that they're going to use to show you that. So under the capacity, right? So let's say they have a truck and it is in Chicago, Illinois. They want to jump out to California, Oregon, Washington, or Alaska with that truck. So what they're going to do is they're going to actually put this truck in here. And then anytime you post a load from your TMS to this platform, they're going to get a notification to say, hey, it looks like XYZ broker just posted a load, and now you have a match for a truck in that area. Do you want to get in there and book that immediately? So this is how it would work for them to add that capacity. They would go in here, they would click add, they would say where they started. So let's, for instance, say this truck was going to start in Boston. They could select where they want to go. They don't have to, it's not a required field. If they didn't want to select a zone, they could do custom when they can select states. So let's say this one, he wants to go to California or Colorado. Select the equipment type. We'll just say it's a van. And if they want to get a flat rate, so if they're going from Boston to California, maybe they want $4,500. Or they can select a per mile rate. Say they want $2 a mile. For the sake of argument, we're not going to put anything in here, so we'll be able to see everything with this search. So Boston, California, Colorado, and the available date, let's say that's going to be Monday. I know that truck's there. The time range for the pickups, all day, morning, afternoon, evening. For now, we're just going to say there's none, and we're going to save that capacity. So now what that capacity does is that goes in their system, and this carrier can now get notifications on this open capacity every time you post a load. Now, you saw that the digital freight matching platform with Kevin. This is also going to take this truck and insert it into your digital freight matching platform. So now it's going to pop up as a truck on that map that you guys have in digital freight matching. So not only will this broker, this carrier be looking for your loads, you're going to also see that they have open capacity in this Boston market. So you'd be able to proactively reach out on your end as well. Now, we'll see that's there. So Boston to California or Colorado. If we click this view loads button, it's going to pop up with all the loads that would have matched that. Now, we did a pretty precise search from Boston out to California or Colorado. No loads actually popped up. So we're going to go back to the preferences screen. Let's see if we can find one where it would pop up. So let's edit this to be pickup date for 124. We'll save that, picking up in Houston, Texas, and we're going to go view those loads. So you can see there's 57 loads that are picking up in Houston, Texas from this TMS. So this carrier would be able to book any one of these. Now you can see they'd be able to quote some, book it now on others, but that is the gist of it for how it's going to work for carriers in that portal. Now, on the other flip side, let's say this capacity is random capacity. lane preferences are something that's going to happen every day or every week or something like that. So you can see it's going to look almost the exact same. The origin location, we'll call it Boston again. We'll say that they're going to be running out to down into the southeast, and the equipment types of van, they don't care about rate, they don't care about pickup times, but they know that this truck is going to be running from Boston down there to zone 3 every Monday and Thursday. So they can go in here. Well, first they would publish that availability, so it goes into your digital freight matching platform. They save this, and then they have this truck in here from Boston out to that zone 3, and it's there every Monday and Thursday. So anytime your TMS posts a load from Boston going down to one of these locations, they're going to get a notification. Now, you can see there's an on hold button. So if you click this, it's going to uncheck the other 2 boxes. Now, the reason for that is for carriers that might have capacity available for half the year or for 9 months out of the year, or they run certain lanes around the holidays or something like that. If it's produce season, they might be running down to Texas more often, or Southern California and things like that. So they have the ability to turn on and off these lane capacities, so they don't have to go in and just re-enter it every year. Now, we go back, we check these boxes. This is going to publish the availability on your DFM, and this is going to give them those email notifications so they can understand which loads from your TMS are going to match these trucks on any given Monday or Thursday. So from there, we'll go over to recent activity. We're going to wrap up here soon. Recent activity just shows who the carrier, what loads they've viewed in your system, which loads they've quoted. And then we use an algorithm just to recommend loads for them based on their search history inside your platform, what we might think they'd be interested in booking. So we'll pop this in front of them as well. And then this is just a catch-all over here. Now, from there, we'll go over into my loads. So again, this is for the carrier. This is going to be all the active loads that they're carrying for your particular brokerage. You can see there's 3 active right now. If they wanted to book a reload on that active load, they could click the reload button. It's going to pop out to that other screen, just as we explained in the beginning. So if we go back over to my loads, you can see history. So you can see all the loads that this particular carrier has hauled for this particular broker. It's quite a bit here inside of our sandbox. Now, that is a high-level view of our Broker Advantage tool. Again, it's that load board that's tied directly to your TMS that you own the keys to. Now, as I wrap up this final segment, I want to leave you with this. Through years of development, constant improvement, Trucker Tools has found a way to bring an all-in-one solution to brokers and logistics companies. So that's hopefully what you saw here today. When you combine our tracking capabilities that Chuck went over, our powerful freight matching tools demonstrated by Kevin, and then you overlay this Broker Advantage tool, you unlock a system that can do everything in one place. So it saves a lot of time and it boosts your bottom line. And all of your brokers can be familiar with one tool, one company, one customer support manager, a team of IT and engineer staff from our side that are willing to help you with any of these platforms. Now, we are fully able to integrate with dozens of popular TMS systems. To find out how simple it would be to add any of these Trucker Tools features to your operation, just reach out to sales@truckertools.com. We have a very strong team, as I said, that's ready to work with you, create a custom solution to maximize effectiveness. Thank you so much for taking a look at our solutions today.